Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Amanda, also known as Mermaid Hair Donut Care, like donut. So we're here today. I'm so excited. I had finally finished my glam light bracket ranking. And now moving on, we're doing the Oden's Eye bracket ranking. I'm so excited for this. I love Oden's Eye. So the first step in the bracket ranking is to rank all of my Oden's Eye palettes. And now, if you're not familiar with the bracket ranking, I did get this idea from my friend Caitlin at Caitlin House Makeup. So she has a bunch of these bracket rankings as well. Go check her out. I've done two now. I've done a ColourPop one and I've done a Glam Light one. So basically, this is the first step. We rank all of the palettes from one brand, or this is how I do it at least. And then those palettes go up against each other. This Oden's Eye one is going to be a little different because I only have 14 Oden's Eye palettes, and every bracket so far has been made up of 16 palettes. So basically, the top two palettes get what is called like a bye. So they immediately move on to the second round. And then the palettes 3 through 14 go against each other. And then the results from those move over into the second round, and then the top two palettes are like involved in the second round. Does that make sense? I'm gonna insert a bracket at the end of the video once all of them have been ranked, and then that way you can see which palettes are in what spot and which palettes get the little bye, and it like shows you all the levels. You'll see. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you're excited to see what palettes I have from Oden's Eye and how I rank them, then stay tuned. All right, so I have two things to say before we start. One, my makeup has been on for like pretty much 12 hours at this point, so don't judge it too hard. And two, there is not an Oden's Eye palette that I have that I don't love. So I don't want you to think that there's any that I hate. Like these are all like every palette had to go in a certain spot, and it does hurt my heart. Okay. And the third thing, as I'm holding up to the struggle today, the third thing is that I made an executive decision when I started buying Oden's Eye palettes that every single palette that I have has the protective sleeve on it. So for some reason, I just kept them, and so they all have it. So we're starting with palette number 14. Like I said, there's no palette that I have here that I don't like. I like them all, and I like them all for different reasons. And then I have reasons as why I like ones better than others. So that's what we're diving into. So number 14 is actually one of the newest palettes I have from Oden's Eye. It's the Snow Dream palette. Now, in theory, this should be one of my absolute favorite palettes. I love the shades. I really do. For some reason though, the look that I got out of this palette when I used it for the first time, I didn't like it. I don't know what happened. I was so sad. Um, I was so sad. I did like a really pretty like mint green look, and I felt like the shades just kind of like blended into each other. I'm not sure if it was like my fault or what I did. It probably was my fault, honestly. But either way, it was not the look that I had wanted it to be, so it was kind of sad, and it made me a little upset about this palette, which I shouldn't have taken it out on this palette because the color story itself is really pretty, but I haven't used it much since then. So like I kind of had to go off of that. I don't have anything else to go off of. Now, palette number 13 is the Flora Story palette, which was the collab with Makeup Just for Fun. I don't know why my brain just had the biggest fart just then. I know her name is Amanda. Makeup Just for Fun. I actually really love this color story. This shade Dawn is like so good. It's just like a really muted, like green and purple, a little neutral. It's a little soft for me. I do prefer like really, really bright, fun colors, but I have gotten a really pretty look out of this before. I just haven't gotten anything that was like super standout. I've also only used it, I think, like for one look in a whole, and then like one or two shades for like a part of a look. So I haven't really gotten like full use out of it yet. So that could be part of it too. It just needs to be used more. Now, palette number 12 is the Planet Spirit palette featuring collab with Betty Jean, aka Batty Bean. I love her. I follow her on here on TikTok, on Instagram. I love her fun, colorful, grungy vibe. I love this palette. It's so fun, so colorful. I just haven't really used it yet. I've only used it for like one look in total. And then I think I used the shade Animalia in another look at one point. But I just haven't gotten enough use out of it. That's the only reason why it's down here. Like, I feel like once I use it a few more times, it will probably be up towards the top. Now, number 11 is the Sea Talk palette, which was a collab with Lauren May Beauty. The reason that this one is actually higher than the other two is because I've actually used it more. I did, I think, two full looks total with just this palette, and then I used Mermaid scale for a look in the past as well. So I use this slightly more times than the other two, but I really do love the shade Mermaid Scale. I love Electric Kelp, and then this shade right here, Iridescent Shell, is that what it's called? Yeah, Iridescent Shell. This has a blue shift to it that I put on top of this navy blue here, and you would have no idea it was pink. It literally looked blue. Crazy. It blew my mind in the best way. Like, I thought it was so cool, so interesting. But I think it's just that I got more use out of the Sea Talk palette, so I think that's why it's a little higher. Now, palette number 10 is the Trick or Treat palette, which is Angelica Nyqvist. This was the Halloween collab, or part of the Halloween collab that they did together. I love this color story. Like, I love these greens. I just haven't gotten a chance to even use them yet. First of all, Witch's Brew is totally throwing me off because it shows up green, but then I was just looking at it and it was literally blue. Look, oh my gosh, in the mirror. You can see it in the mirror. You can see right here. It's showing up blue. Crazy. I haven't even gotten a chance to use them yet. I don't even know if I've used the orange. I'm pretty sure I've only used like the brown and like the mustard shade, which I love me a brown and I love me a mustard. Mustard more than brown. And I've used like this lighter bone shade and this really pretty shimmer. But I haven't really gotten to like dig into it yet. So I'm definitely wanting to do that still. But I really do like the color story and the colors that are in it. I just haven't gotten a chance to like really play around with it. Palette number 9 is the Jewels and Gem palette. I'm gonna mess up all of my words today. I could just feel it coming. I just finally got a chance to play with this more recently, literally within the past like week and a half, and I loved it. It actually kind of almost looks like I could have gotten this look out of it. I did not. But it's like that same, like, I love like the taupey vibes, the like dusty purpley vibes, mauvey vibes, like that I love. This shade right here, freaking beautiful, Swoon. Love that. What was my other favorite? Oh, I loved the shade High too. It's so pretty. So, so pretty. I did a couple like dusty pink and purple looks that I loved, and then I did a really cool like denim-y blue and green look. I loved it. It did give me a little trouble the first time I ever tried it. There was one shade that was like a little powdery. I think that maybe that's why it's down a little further, but it did redeem itself, so I'm not mad at it. Palette number 8 is, again, one of my newer palettes, is the Hey Reindeer palette, the counterpart to the Snow Dream palette for this year's holiday launch. The reason that this one is so much higher, I can tell you right now, is literally for one specific shade, and it's the shade Candy Canes. Candy Canes? Yeah, Candy Canes. Look at how pretty this is. Like, look at that shift. It has like a greenish gold shift to it. It's so freaking pretty. I fell in love with it. I feel like everyone was really loving on Christmas Ham, which was also super pretty, but Candy Canes was like the standout shade for me. I thought it was insanely beautiful. I absolutely loved it. I do love the tones in here too. I do love this. Like, it again could have been something that I used today. So pretty. It's like a mauvey pinky purple. I do want to play with this more though too. I've only used this like, I keep wanting to say like 1.5 times because I've used it for like one full look and then a couple random shades in like other looks, or like I did a bingo with all 4 of the holiday palettes. Okay, moving on. We're like already halfway through. This is palette number 7, and this is the Norns palette. So I have also only used this one time, like one time in total, not even like one time and then I used another shade somewhere else. Like, no, I've literally only used this one time. One, I really liked the look that I did with it. I used this beautiful red and this really fun like marbly shade. But there's something about the color story here. Like, these 4 beautiful shimmers are just so intriguing color story wise. And then Pink Chameleon, this shade right here, it's like showing up like it has like a pink shift on camera, but when I looked at it, it's like a green shift. It looks stunning, and I can't wait to try it out, really. I've only used it, like I said, one time, and it just looks so fun. Like, the color story, it looks like I could get so many amazing looks out of it. I just haven't had the chance to really play with it yet in its full capacity. All right, palette number 6 is the Stone and Rock palette. This is another one that I've just used for the first time like this past week, and I loved it. I do have to note I absolutely am obsessed with the rainbow edging on this one. I think it is so freaking cute. I didn't really talk about the packaging for any of the other ones because they have very similar packaging almost all the way through. I will say I don't like the palettes that have the like sandpapery texture. Not a huge fan of those, but it's not like a deal breaker. Like, I'll still buy them and use them. I just don't love it. But this one's nice and smooth. But I absolutely love this color story. There was a point in time in like the summer that everyone kind of did like a green and neutral palette, like the Natasha Denona Zendo palette, the Nomad Oka, I don't remember how to say that, Safari. Those guys. I feel like there might have been another palette that I'm just blanking on, but this was like kind of all in that same like time frame, and I just used it for the first time literally the other day. But I loved the look that I got out of it. I thought it was so pretty. There's so many other fun shades in here that I want to try, so I'm very excited to do that. This one definitely is intriguing. It's showing up green, but it's like literally shifting to like blue and almost like purple. I don't know if it's showing up on camera at all. Like, oh, right there. See, it's blue. Crazy. But then I looked at it at a different angle and it was blue, and then it was like purple. Crazy. I'm very excited to try that shade out for sure. Next up, number 5 is the Little Ghost palette. This is the other part of the Halloween launch with Angelica Nyqvist. I put this one up high because I love the color story. I love the yellow. I love the blue. I love the purple all together. This shade, Magical, is literally exactly that. It's magical. Almost very similar to Candy Canes. I will say that. Um, but you know, not exactly the same, so I shall take it. This shade right here looks absolutely stunning. Boo. I have not yet tried that one yet, but I just said yet. But I'm very excited to dip into this more. Also, this shade, I think it's called Licorice. Yes, is a very gorgeous, like deep maroony, like purpley red. So pretty. So I just love that. Did I say that I love this one has the rainbow edging as well? I just love that because it just makes my heart happy when I see anything rainbow. All right, number 4 is the original Hela palette, the first collab with Angelica Nyqvist. This is one of the first palettes that I ever got from Oden's Eye. It's one of the palettes that I've used probably the most, other than one other palette that's still yet to be shown. I love the pink, the green, the yellow all together. This shade River is so freaking pretty. I really am actually super excited to get more use out of this. So I'm excited that we're doing a bracket ranking because I have been really wanting to use that again soon. So I'm glad that that is happening. Number 3, of course, this one has the sandpapery texture that I was just talking about that I don't like. Is the Soul Mane 2. I don't know how you say. I feel like Soul Mane 2 is so like American sounding. But it's the Soul Mane 2 palette. I think that's how you say it. I love this color story. This is the first palette I ever got. I think I bought these two at the exact same time, and they were both the first 2 palettes that I got from Oden's Eye. I love it. Like this shade, what is it? Galaxy, this purple has like a significant dip in it, which is like shocking. This shade Deep Space is still probably one of my favorite shimmers, and I haven't gotten to use it in so long. So I'm so excited to be dipping into this palette again. It's literally one of my favorite palettes. I love it so, so, so much. It's so freaking pretty. I can't wait to keep using it. And it was one of the first palettes that was involved in my new palette series when I first started it. So it's been around for a minute, but I absolutely love it. All right, we're at the top 2. If you know anything about my collection at all, I would love for you to drop in the comments what you think my top 2 are. Either in order or not. It doesn't matter. I just want to see if anyone can guess. But did you drop your guesses? We did? Okay, great. So number 2 is the Merry Christmas palette. I'm so happy that I was finally able to get this year because I was so sad that I didn't get it the previous year because I saw these and I had never tried Oden's Eye before. Crazy now to think of that. I had never tried Oden's Eye before and I didn't want to spend the money on the 2 holiday palettes because I was unsure as to whether or not I liked the brand. But I adore this palette so much. I plan on using this palette all throughout the year. I do not care that it is Christmas themed whatsoever. This orange is so freaking pretty. One of my favorite looks I did in 2023 was with this orange. I love this shade, Elfwish. The green shimmer, so freaking pretty. Also, Snowman, absolutely gorgeous. Oh, they're literally all so pretty. I haven't gotten to use the shade New Year yet or Jingle Bell, these two, and I definitely want to do that soon. Um, I really love this palette. It's so pretty. This one and the number one spot were really hard because it was like going back and forth between those two. Honestly, though, any of these palettes could be in different spots at any day because I like them all so much. I like all these Oden's Eye palettes so much that they literally all could have been interchanged at some point or another. All right, and the number one palette, did you guess right? It is the, well, struggle for dramatic effect, I guess. The Christmas Eve palette. I am obsessed with this palette. I love this palette so much. I love the gray, I love the green, I love the mustard, I love the purple, I love the blues. The shade Gorgeous is literally so freaking gorgeous. It's like an understatement. I can't even I can't even describe how freaking beautiful it is. I absolutely love this palette. This palette also had one of my favorite looks I did the entire year of 2023, which was obviously towards the end of it because I didn't get these palettes until late November, I want to say. Or was it early December? I feel like it was late November. But I just absolutely love this palette and I cannot wait to keep using it. To me, this does not look like a Christmas palette or a palette that I can only use um seasonally or like sometime throughout the year. Like I plan on using this palette all throughout the year. Like nothing here screams like super seasonal to me other than maybe like the packaging itself and the snowflakes like on the pans, like on the like embossed in the shadows. Like there's nothing in here that like, oh, I can't use that, that's a Christmas palette. Like no, that's not what we're doing here. That's a beautiful color story and I plan on using it for a while. That is for darn sure. Okay, so that was all 14 palettes. I'm so excited because when I do these bracket rankings, it gives me like an excuse to purposely use these palettes that I love so much. So I'm very excited to see what looks I can come up with. My goal for these is, especially for the palettes that I have only used like once or twice, is to dip into the shades that I haven't used before and to come up with like fun new looks like that. I'm kind of pushing myself a little bit further because with my most recent bracket ranking with the Glam Light, I kind of just used the palettes for whatever I felt like at the time and if it matched a certain outfit. I didn't really push myself to use a lot of shades that I hadn't used before. But I'm excited to do that with Oden's Eye because I definitely have a lot of shades. And I also feel like this is more streamlined because they're all almost the same size palettes besides the three collab palettes. What is it called? What was that called? That collab was called something. The something perfect world? Is that what that was called? I don't remember. It was called, the three of them together was called something. Um Aside from those three, almost all of the other palettes have the same like layout. And I don't know, to me it's like way more pleasing to the eye and I can like look at it and look and see what shades I have and haven't used yet and just go from there. But I'm going to put a picture of the bracket right here with all of the palettes in their designated spots. And you'll see kind of how it's going to work with the top two palettes. And then I hope you're as excited as I am because I plan on getting started on this very quickly. It did take me, I think, like 3 or 4 months for my ColourPop one. It took me about 3 or 4 months for my Glam Light one. I don't want this one to take as long. I wanted to finish my Glam Light one by like the new year, and it literally, the last week of December, I did 5 Glam Light palette looks. So like I know I can do it if I push myself to do it and I can get it done in a timely manner. It's just actually pushing myself to do it, and I still want to do all of my other fun stuff that I want to do, like picking out of a takeout container and pick it out of a hat. I've now seemed to just combine those because that's the second time I have made that mistake and I've said that. So I feel like I just keep combining them to the wrong thing. So I'm very excited for this. I would love for you to follow along in my makeup journey because I have so much more to come. So I would love for you to like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. It's Mermaid Hair, Don't Care on all 3 of these platforms. And I would love for you to follow along because I have so much makeup that there is always more. Bye.